We're here because free speech is under attack. We're here because people are being convinced that socialism works. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth.
Government shutdown averted temporarily. UAW expands strike. The Supreme Court comes back in session, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. The U.S. Senate voted 88-9 on Saturday night to pass a temporary funding bill, funding the government for the next 47 days and avoiding a federal shutdown. The bill had previously passed in the House earlier that day with bipartisan support. The bill's passage represents an about-face for negotiations, as a prior stopgap bill introduced by House Speaker Kevin McCarthy on Friday had been sunk by members of his own party, and a shutdown appeared inevitable. The new funding bill includes additional support for natural disaster funds, but does not include new allocations for border security or supporting Ukraine. Congress now has until November 17th to reach a more permanent agreement on funding the government. Socialist Representative Jamal Bowman of the Squad pulled the fire alarm in a House office building Saturday as Democrats tried to delay the bipartisan vote on the stopgap spending bill. The incident in the Cannon building was caught on camera and confirmed by several witnesses. An investigation into why it was pulled is underway, according to a spokesperson for the Administration Committee in a statement following the incident. Bowman said he approached a door inside the building that would not open. Quote, "I am embarrassed to admit that I activated the fire alarm mistakenly, thinking it would open the door." Bowman said it was not an attempt to delay any vote. Bowman is a former high school principal who ran fire drills, so it is unlikely that he thought pulling the alarm would open a locked door. United Auto Workers President Shawn Fain said Friday that his union would be authorizing an additional 7,000 workers to walk off the job in auto plants in Illinois and Michigan as the auto strike expands against the big three U.S. car manufacturers. The workers will go on strike at a Ford plant in Chicago and a GM facility in Lansing, Michigan. No additional walkouts were announced at Stellantis, the last of the big three automakers, as Fain said talks were moving in the right direction with the company. The strike has become a political rallying point in recent days, with both President Biden and former President Donald Trump visiting Michigan last week. California enacted a state law that will raise the minimum wage for fast food workers to $20 per hour starting next April. The measure will give the state's fast food workers the industry's highest guaranteed wage. California's minimum wage for other workers is $15.50 an hour, also among the highest in the nation. Governor Newsom said the law recognizes that fast food workers are often primary earners in low-income households, contrary to the common belief that most are teens on their first job. That's a romanticized version of a world that doesn't exist, Newsom said. We have the opportunity to reward that contribution, reward that sacrifice, and stabilize an industry. In fact, the move is expected to put a strain on restaurant franchisees and will curtail hiring and potentially lead to layoffs. California Governor Gavin Newsom on Sunday also selected Democratic strategist LaFonza Butler to fill the seat of Senator Dianne Feinstein, who died Thursday at age 90. A formal announcement is expected Monday, which would clear the way for Butler to be sworn in on Wednesday. The speed of the appointment underscored the significance of every vote in the closely divided Senate. Butler is president of Emily's List, a national fundraising organization that focuses on electing Democratic women who support abortion rights and has extensive experience in Democratic politics. She has served as the president of a powerful labor union and as advisor to Vice President Kamala Harris's 2020 presidential campaign. It's important to note that that campaign completely failed, and Harris pulled out of the presidential campaign prior to the first primary. Butler has not lived in California for the last 2 years. She will be the first black lesbian to serve in the Senate. Student loan payments officially resumed Sunday for more than 28 million borrowers after a 3-year pause that began as economic relief early in the coronavirus pandemic. A Life and My Finances survey in July found that half of borrowers said they couldn't afford to make payments, and only 22% said they had a plan for doing so. Some borrowers reportedly plan to refuse to make payments in a student debt strike. President Biden, who has pushed for student debt relief, released an on-ramp repayment plan that will let borrowers miss payments with reduced consequences for the next year. Although borrowers will start seeing interest add up, and the skipped payments could hurt their credit scores. The Supreme Court returns on Monday for a new term in which the justices will revisit divisive issues including gun rights, free speech, and the power of presidential administrations to use regulations to protect consumers, workers, and the environment without input from Congress. The High Court will consider whether South Carolina lawmakers drew congressional maps that discriminated against black voters, and whether Second Amendment gun rights extend to domestic abusers. The 9-month session comes as the increasingly conservative High Court faces ongoing questions about ethics that have eroded public trust. A Gallup poll on Friday found that less than half the country has confidence in the Supreme Court. Netflix distribution centers in California, Texas, Georgia, and New Jersey mailed out their last DVDs as what is now a video streaming company ends its DVD by mail service that started the company. The DVD service helped Netflix transform how Americans got their entertainment, grabbing market share from Blockbuster and other video retail stores. It peaked at more than 20 million subscribers. In 2011, Netflix separated the DVD service from its streaming business, which now has 238 million subscribers worldwide and brought in $31.5 billion last year. The DVD customers, now numbering fewer than 1 million and accounting for $146 million last year, will get to keep their final discs as a parting gift. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of The Raw Naked Truth at xvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcasts app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.